You're welcome to your Marriage Journey podcast. This is Toyosi Erogbogbo. And I'm going to be talking about something today that I think is crucial. I'm titling it the Times and Seasons. And when you understand, times and season, I think it'll help us put a little bit more context into whatever season of life we find ourselves. As we often say here, marriage is a journey, it's not a destination. The Bible is the blueprint and the Holy Spirit is your guide. And now I said that to help you understand that the reality is you're going from point A to point B in this journey called life. So there are going to be seasons. There are going to be times, there are going to be seasons, there are going to be certain things that you're going to have to work through. So the first thing that I want to say when we talk about times and season, as I lay this foundation, is Ecclesiastes chapter 3 talks about to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. So everything has a time. Everything has a season. There is, and when I talk about times and season, I want to be clear. So for those of you here that like in the Midwest, I'm in Chicago, we have, or even in the US, we have, the fall season, we have the winter season, we have the spring, we have the summer. Understanding those seasons, not from a date perspective, but from a season perspective. So what do I mean by that? Winter doesn't start at every single time, meaning every single year. Sometimes it comes earlier from a date's perspective, and then it stays later from a date perspective. But the reality is there is a season, not necessarily a date. Now, for us, we have realized one thing here, that because we're talking about relationship, at a certain age, I have to be married. One of the things that I'm thankful to God for, amongst many other things, is that there is no age that I have to, imagine if the Bible was like, you have to get married at 29. Now, what happens? That just puts immense pressure on you because at that specific age, you must get married. No, it's a season. So I'm going to be talking about the times and I'm going to be talking about the seasons. The Bible talks about this in First Chronicles. I love First Chronicles. The Bible talks about this, that the sons of Issachar, they understood the time and the season, and they knew what Israel ought to do. So what do I mean by that? There are a number of things that you and I could do. So the first season that I'm going to talk about is the season of singleness. Every single person was born single. I love the fact, again, that we're not born with a specific number, like the husband is born with 115 and then he has to find a woman that is born with 115. So that's the specific person he has to get married to. No, every single one of us, were born single. And that tells me something, that singleness is important to God. Otherwise, why were we all born single? So singleness is not a disease. It's not a disease to be cured. It's not a time for you to feel all miserable. No, it's a time for you to bask in God's presence, understand why it is that you're here, understand what's important to you, build your value system, build your relationship with God, understand what drives you. There's a slew of things that you could do while you're single. You have time. You have time. And that's why Paul tells us that the single person is concerned on how he would focus his attention on God. And then the married person is concerned on how he can please his spouse. I'm not saying when you get married, you don't think about God. No, it just tells you your attention is divided, right? So singleness is a time for personal growth. You have to. I'm growing personally. I'm growing in my relationship with God. I'm growing in my relationship with self. We don't talk about that a lot. A lot of us, we don't know who it is that we are. And we're trying to get to know somebody. No, you need to focus on yourself. What is it that I like? What don't I like? What am I about? How do I get better with my credit score, my finances, my health, my eating patterns, my sleeping patterns, my attitude? All of those things matters to God. And that's why he wants you to flush it out while you're single. So understanding that the season of singleness is a time for personal growth, depending on your relationship with God, preparing for your future relationship. It's a season of self-discovery. You have to discover yourself. The sooner you discover yourself as a single person, the better it is for you. Then you know exactly what it is that you don't want. You know exactly who it is that you don't want to get married to. I wrote a book, Become Before You Marry, meaning if you don't discover yourself before you get married, you're going to get married. And when you discover yourself, you may feel stuck because now this is what I'm about. Would I have married this person? Do I think this is the most appropriate person in the world to help me achieve what it is that I'm trying to achieve? Maybe, probably not. So the first season is the season of singleness. All of us are born single. Then now let's start to talk about friendship. So the next season you could go into what is called friendship. So you see, John sees Mary. He likes Mary. Okay, she's pretty, she's attractive, or what have you. And then now we're building friendship. So every strong relationship begins with friendship, a solid foundation in friendship. We're friends. Let's build friendship. Let's be friends. See, marriage is not just about, praying, speaking in tongues, all those things, taking care of the kids. You need to be with your friend. Like we talk, we just hang out. You need that level of friendship. So I will suggest to you, as a single person, when you're going into this space, or you take time to build that friendship, enjoy that season. It's a phase. It's not going to last. It should last forever because you should continue to be friends, but take time to recognize this. This is a time to build trust. This is a time to understand each other's values. This is a time to seek God's plan for God's purpose for the relationship. Like, this is a time for you guys as friends to build friendship. It's a season. Is it going to be like that forever? No. And then the Bible talks about this in Proverbs 17:17, talking about the fact that you should not rush into connection. But season of friendship is crucial. The next thing that I'll say, so now we're friends. Now what? Let's go into what is called courtship or dating. So, okay, Mary and John, they're building friendship. Okay, so John is like, okay, yeah, I think she's cute. Now I think we want to take it a little bit more. So now we're going into courtship. And I want to lay this right here. This is with the purpose of getting married. So the intention in this is I am pursuing this person, honoring God, honoring self, respecting her with the intention of getting married. It's a time of getting to know one another at a deeper level with the expectation of marriage. This requires a time of prayer. You need to pray. It's a time of purity. You need to continue to maintain the purity in the marriage. It's a time of both of you seeking God's face for this relationship. It's a time of you taking steps to understand what it is that we're trying to build. It's a time for you to practice patience. It's a time for you to be intentional. So you come up with, this is what I'm trying to get done. This is where I'm going. You're constantly talking. You're building that, or you're investing rather in the relationship. You're building this relationship or against in the presence of the judge or in the presence of the jury on making a point beyond any reasonable doubt. So I am trying to convince the jury or the court on whatever stance, either for or against a specific action. And the goal here is beyond reasonable doubt. So there should be no doubt in my convictions. And that should happen in courtship. If you properly go into courtship with the right expectations, and that's why the Bible says, can two of us work together except they agree? With the right expectation, it would answer one of two questions. Either should continue this relationship and get married, or no, I do not want to continue this relationship, and therefore we're not going to get married. The court or courtship should be able to validate that. And then the next season is a season of, okay, now we're engaged. So now what? This is a period of preparation for marriage. You continue to prepare for marriage. You don't just stop preparing for marriage once you become, when you're in courtship, you continue to prepare for marriage. So now we're in courtship. Now we're in the season of engagement. We're engaged to get married. And now the intention is, again, a deeper conversation, seeking premarital counseling, understanding that both parties are aligned in their faith, in their visions, and in their values. So now that we're going through this, a broken engagement is 100 times better than divorce. So in this season of engagement, though our values continue to align, so you're constantly checking in. Are we still on the same path? Our faith. Are we still trying to do the right things? And then we come into this season of marriage. The season of marriage is kind of like in this season. Okay, so now in this season we've gone from engagement. Now we're in courtship. Sorry, now we're married. So we've come into this marriage covenant, as marriage is. So it's not a contract; it's a covenant. And in this season of marriage, we go back to Ephesians, the marriage manual. We understand what the role of the husband is or what the role of the wife is, and we're both living that as our truth. We're building together. We're working towards achieving a common goal. So it's a season. Now, does it mean that when I'm married, it's better than somebody that is in a single phase? No, we're all in different seasons of life. If you're in the marriage season, enjoy it. Lean towards your spouse. Understand that now I'm married. Build your marriage. Build intimacy. Build your financial plan. Build if you have a business you're trying to work on, build the business together. Like, invest in one another. Husband, lead your wife. Wife, submit to your own husband. Like, walk together under the covenant of marriage. You see, one of the things that that I pray that couples really understand is Hebrews chapter 13. The Bible talks about this in Hebrews 13. It says marriage is honorable and the marriage bed undefiled. It says whoremongers or whoremongers God will judge. God didn't tell us how He's going to judge it. So when I come into this season of marriage and I start to dishonor the marriage covenant, when God starts to judge, I don't know how He's going to judge it. It's a different case if He tells me, oh, this is how I'm going to judge it. Then if you're really rebellious, you can brace yourself up. But He doesn't tell us how He's going to judge. So life could be happening and we think it's the devil. No, it's God judging us in our marriage because we're not faithful. We're not honoring our marriage commitment. So this season should not be taken lightly. Matter of fact, any season should not be taken lightly. And all of those seasons, I want to come to this point. You see, in each and every season, there are certain things that are crucial. One, each season comes with its own challenges. Two, each season you should focus on growth. I should be focusing on growing even as a single person, even in courtship, even in dating, even when we're engaged, and even when we get married. And then the final thing that I'll tell you this from a summary perspective as I try to write this up is, look, first thing in each season, I need to be seeking God's guidance in every season. I need to be seeking God's guidance in every season. The second thing is I need to be patient and discerning. I do not need to rush the season or short circuit the season. Oh, how do you rush the season? Oh, I'm 26. I need to get married now. Oh, I'm 32. I need to get married now. Enjoy each season. Be patient and be discerning. And then also surround yourself with godly people that can give you accountability. And then more importantly, pray in each season. Pray, pray, and pray. Until I come your way again next time, God bless you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Again, this is your marriage journey, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Have a blessed day.